Hello, beautiful heretics. Today we are going to discuss the curse of Ham. What the heck is this curse and how did it come to be? The simplistic story is that Ham sees his father naked, and as a result, Noah curses Canaan to be slaves to his brethren. I know, that doesn't seem to make sense. But eventually this story became fuel for enslavement and turned the curse into one of darkness. Thus Ham becomes the first Black person. This topic recently came up on my TikTok, so I wanted to share some of the commentary and also deep dive into what scholars say transpired in Genesis between Noah and his son Ham. Stick around to find out. There is a good bit to unpack about the curse, especially because it's mostly a misunderstanding of the scripture. And if you ask me, it was an intentional misrepresentation to bolster Christian rhetoric. What started out as a story about a father angry with his son became the story that turned into an etiology of enslavement. Genesis tells us that Noah is the man of the soil, and he plants a vineyard, and one day he gets drunk. You know, as you do. I enjoy a drink or two. Whoopsies! Ham enters his father's tent and sees his nakedness. Upon Noah waking up and realizing what has occurred, curses Canaan. The literal narrative leaves a lot of gaps, which has made a lot of scholars wonder what could have occurred that elicited such an action from Noah. I asked my audience here on YouTube to tell me what they thought the curse of Ham was about, so let's look at some scholarly ideas and gauge which one makes sense. Ham saw his father naked while sleeping, as the text states. Ham assaulted his father while he was sleeping. Ham assaulted his mother while his father slept. Ham castrated or circumcised his father while he slept. After doing some research, I feel like Ham was attempting to usurp his father as the authority figure, and here's why. To see nakedness is a euphemism for sexual intercourse, as in Leviticus chapter 20 and chapter 18. Ham uncovered his father's nakedness, which in turn means Ham either had an ancestral relation with his father by uncovering his nakedness, or it can also refer to his wife, Naamah's nakedness. Much like in Leviticus, this was the author's way of hiding the truth in plain sight as a discretionary tactic. Let's look closely at chapter 18. None of you shall approach anyone near akin to uncovered nakedness. I am the Lord. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. It is the nakedness of your father. Starting to make sense. Uncovering nakedness is an idiom for sex. Could that mean that Ham assaulted his father? Possibly, but here is why I don't think that is the case. In Near Eastern literature, there are many examples of a son sleeping with his father's wife to supplant his father's power. Absalom slept with David's concubines. Baal-Hadad castrates El in one myth and absconds with Asherah. In a Sumerian creation account, Enlil replaces the chief god An by taking his mother Ki. We also see the same theme in Greek stories. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that we have another episode of a son who seeks to acquire his father's authority by having relations with his father's wife. This is more of a power move to circumvent their father and their brother's authority, not just sex. The gravity of Noah's actions leave us bewildered with how an instance of seeing a naked body can elicit such a response so as to curse people. It doesn't make much sense. Immediately as Ham is introduced in verse 18, it's followed up with him being the father of Canaan, someone not yet introduced into the story. Maybe that's because he wasn't born until 9 months later, a product of Ham and his mother uncovering of nakedness. His brothers Shem and Japheth's piety not only have them objecting to what Ham has done, but they won't even look their father's way when they go to cover him. Textually, there's nothing that seems to back up the claim of castration or circumcising. But it's pretty obvious dude is trying to take his father's power. It's a tale as old as time. Now that I've broken down what happened in the Curse of Ham story, I want to play my TikToks and show some of the comments I got, which got me digging deeper into the Curse of Ham and how it became a means to enslave people. Let's take a look. What is the Curse of Ham, you ask? The long and short of it, it's about a ding-dong. Now, whether or not that ding-dong was long or short, that I can't tell you. Genesis tells us that Noah had too much to drink and Ham walked in on him and saw his nakedness. When Noah realized what had been done, he cursed Canaan to be slaves to his brothers. With that, he also blessed his other brothers. It doesn't seem to make sense that Noah would be so aggravated with his son for just seeing him naked. Some scholars think that Ham actually SA'd his father, and that's what uncovering his nakedness means. So Noah cursed Ham and all his posterity to be in servitude to his brothers. I think that it's really just referencing how Canaan used to be vassal to Egypt. Now Canaan would no longer be a vassal to Egypt. They were going to be vassal to their very own brethren. I don't think it was that deep. But guess what the Christians did with it? They called it a curse of darkness, and Jehovah's Witnesses to this day still picture Ham as a black man. Genesis 9 served as a proof text and platform in the national debate regarding slavery throughout the 18th and 19th centuries. It was cited in books, pamphlets, sermons, newspapers, and even in floor proceedings of the U.S. Senate. Theodore Weld, who was an abolitionist, wrote this about the curse of Ham. He said that it's the vade mecum of slaveholders, a pocket piece for sudden occasion, a keepsake to dote over, a charm to spellbind opposition. So what these slave owners did was turn this curse of Ham into a curse of color of skin that meant they needed to be in servitude to whiteness. I want to go through some of the comments from this video because I want to show the range of ideas and knowledge about the curse. And you'll see some people have no idea. Some do feel Ham was cursed because of his disrespectfulness. This guy's heard of the curse from the Pentecostals. Maybe Noah was playing with himself and got caught. There are some people who believe Cain was the one cursed with darkness. My friend here believes that uncovering nakedness is a reference to his father's wife or trying to usurp power too. Now just wait till we get to some of the comments in my next video. Eeh. My friend says, growing up in Louisiana, I remember white Southern Baptists say that blacks were the descendants of Ham from a curse. This stuff goes back so far, y'all. Origen, okay? If y'all remember, he is one of the early church fathers who got a lot of stuff wrong about the Bible. Look what he says. 2nd century Common Era. For the Egyptians are prone to a degenerate life and quickly sink to every slavery of the vices. Look at the origin of the race, and you will discover that their father Ham, who had laughed at his father's nakedness, deserved a judgment of this kind. That his son Canaan should be a servant to his brothers, in which case the condition of bondage would prove the wickedness of his conduct. Not without merit, therefore, does the discolored posterity imitate the ignobility of the race. This could be a little off topic, but does anybody else find it interesting that Canaan, this is Canaan, well, even more than this, but this is Canaan, now called Palestine, is named from the Philistines who lived here, and Philistine is used as a derogatory term. It wasn't always used that way, but sometime around the 17th century, I believe, it started to mean a debauched or drunken person, disorderly, dishonorable person, uneducated or unenlightened person. I think misinterpretation of the Bible is fucking ruining this world. Jezebel 66 was taught that you're supposed to love other races, but not associate with them. And here's another person that was taught that Cain was marked as black when he killed his brother Abel. There are people commenting from all over the world saying that they have heard about this infamous curse of dark skin. And here we get a biblical literalist who does not believe in evolution. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time even reading this one. We know that the Mormons taught this and they also use it against the indigenous, but it was also used to bolster apartheid in South Africa. Bible camp, what an appropriate place to be telling the Noah story. Anyway, there are just so many people with a wide variety of ages and lots of different places all over the world who have been taught this rhetoric. Okay, speaking of that weirdo Origen who castrated himself, I wanted to talk about how the 2nd century these ideas were floating around. Sometime around the 1600s, this idea was being cemented. What's frustrating is when you read the scriptures about Ham, there is no indication of his skin color. And the text plainly says that Noah cursed Canaan, not Ham. Here is my last TikTok video, and then I'm going to attempt to wrap things up. We shall see. If any of you are unaware of what the Slave Bible is, it's a heavily redacted Bible that omits many verses. For instance, Moses leading the Israelites to freedom from Egypt is omitted, but there are other verses in there about enslavement, especially the Curse of Ham. Which goes back to what abolitionist Theodore Weld says, that the Noah prophecy is the vade mecum of slaveholders, and they never venture abroad without it. If we take the Genesis story at face value, it doesn't make much sense. There's just so many things that are left unexplained. And seeing your father naked would not be that big of a deal until you realized just how repulsed Ham's brothers were. For instance, how would Noah know what had been done to him if it was just a viewing of him while he was sleeping naked? And the reason that I believe that Ham assaulted his mother and not his father is because we've learned that uncovering nakedness is in relation to heterosexual activities. And because this story has left so many things unexplained, people have thrown their own interpretations on top of it. And why did it take till 1873 to remove this curse from the wretched Ethiopians? I'm just so grossed out at how this story has been misinterpreted. It's about a dude who wants to take his father's power. It's pretty plain and simple, point blank. Don't read too much into it. Don't take too much out of it. There you go. If there is anything that you think that I missed about the Curse of Ham, I'd love for you to leave it in the comments. I also encourage you to look up these 2 scholarly articles that I was reading, and I will make sure that I put it in the description. If there's anything else that you would like me to cover, you can also leave that in the comments. Leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you soon, you crazy apostates. Mwah.